Invincible Season 1 has just finished, and right after Episode 8's release, Amazon announced that they're moving forward with Seasons 2 and 3 of the show. Robert Kirkman recently stated that he wants to go all the way to Season 7, and with just how popular it is, it's likely that we will be seeing Mark Grayson on our screens for a long time. Now, the ending of Episode 8 teases towards a lot of things coming in the future, and throughout this video we're going to be giving our big predictions on what will be happening in it based off of the comics. Full spoilers ahead from this point onwards, so if you haven't had a chance to check out the show, then I highly recommend that you check out now. If you enjoy it, then please smash the thumbs up button like Nolan smashed his son's face in, and subscribe for crap videos like this every day. With that out of the way, welcome to the heavy hangover show. Probably shouldn't have went out last night, but I'm here now. Let's get into the breakdown. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about in this tease is the Alien Invaders who've shown up throughout the series. When we last saw them, Nolan had entered their dimension and he was destroying everything in sight. In the comics, we discover that they are very much terrified of him, and since his attack they've attempted to rebuild their world. Now, I'm guessing that the next part of the invasion will be what we open Season 2 with. In the comics, the majority of the arc that we have just followed took place over issues 1 to 13. The first year of the series culminated with the fight between Nolan and Mark, which is how the show of course ends. Year 2 starts in issue 14, and the story picks up with Invincible fighting alongside the Guardians of the Globe, tackling the very forces that we see here. Now, the battle doesn't last too long, and it's actually in the comics that the team discover that by destroying the wrist straps on the aliens, that they will rapidly age. The show changed things up to include this reveal earlier on in the season, so I'm guessing that we will likely pick up with one of the latter invasions, rather than having things just continue to play out how they were. They also stab a screen with Earth and Nolan's face on it, so it's likely that they're coming back to get revenge. Now, if Mark doesn't have enough trouble on his hands with them, the Viltrumites and more trying to invade, we've also got another invasion on top of that. The Sequids are still out in the galaxy, and after humanity travelled to the planet, they managed to take over an astronaut called Russ Livingston. In the series, we discovered that a native of Mars had shapeshifted into him, and in the comics he becomes a superhero called Shapesmith, who's basically a cross between Plastic Man and Martian Manhunter. In issue 38, he ends up teaming up with the Guardians of the Globe, and in 39, he divulges the history of the Sequids. Through him, we discover that they came to Mars in a damaged spaceship centuries ago. Strange warriors emerged from this craft and waged war on the planet. It was only upon defeating these creatures that the Martians realised it was actually the Sequid parasites all along who were behind it. I'll stop doing that crap joke now. Because of their shape-shifting abilities, the Sequids were unable to attach to the Martians. However, the Martians found a use for them, and because they operated with a hive mind, they were used to carry out slave labour. Over the years, the Martians experimented on the creatures and genetically modified them to be stronger and faster. However, bloody conspiracy theorists, you know what they're like, they started to think that the Martian government had lied about their origins and that they were actually good creatures that had been turned into prisoners. An uprising on Mars started, and these rebels wished to gain a life form that the Sequids could bond with in order to free them. However, everyone that came to the planet was immediately executed. Thus, Shapesmith, who was part of this rebellion, took on the appearance of Russ, and the rebels managed to stick a Sequid on him. Now, as always with these bloody conspiracy theorists, things didn't go to plan, and the Sequids of course took over the planet. Because they were unable to attach to the Martians, they instead enslaved them, and in the comics we watch as they travel to Earth in order to take over the planet. The Guardians that are strong enough not to be taken over by the Sequids travel into space in order to stop them, and they manage to. However, the Martians want to execute Shapesmith for his crimes, and thus Mark and co end up fleeing with him, much like how he did with the astronauts on Mars. Now, that's just a little funny joke that they put in, but I do like that they called back to that moment. Unfortunately, whilst they're in space, the Lizard League attack, and the other Guardians have to take them on, but they're severely outmatched. There's actually a lot of big deaths during this that I won't spoil here, but expect to see some of your favourites taken out next time. Now, in flashes, we can also catch Dr. Seismic, who is still alive. In a special one-off story called The Pact, we discover that he's been lying low in the Earth's core. Under the surface, he's now worshipped as a god by the creatures that lived there, which are called the Magmanites. Now, Mark goes down and dukes it out with him, but there's a big twist when Doc reveals that he's actually happy that he fell into the lava. Seismic sees himself as being over the hill, someone who never made it to being a big bad in his lifetime, and he knows that Mark views him as one of his lowly villains. However, in this domain he's worshipped as a god, and he quite enjoys living there. Mark seems like he's happy for him, but he responds with an invincible punch and knocks him out. Elsewhere in the clips, we also catch Titan, who is now fully set up as a crime boss. Mark of course helped him to achieve this position, and it's obvious that the two will be coming face to face down the line. During the clip flashes in the episode, we do catch Mr. Liu entering his office, and we discover in the comics that there's actually a gang war going on between him and Titan. Liu heads up a group known as the Order, and they've been vying for control of crime across the country. Invincible ends up defeating Liu in the comics, much like how he did Titan, but I'm expecting a big episode focused on their gang war. We also catch DA Sinclair in the finale, working on new and improved Reanimen. Cecil looks over this, and though there are several possibilities that the plot could go off into, personally I think it's going to be something that pits Mark against the GDA. In the comics, Cecil becomes annoyed with Mark after he starts doing his own thing. He very much wants to keep him under control and working for him, but Mark constantly takes matters into his own hands. Cecil is someone who always has a contingency plan, and after studying Mark during the fight with his father, he discovers that Viltrumites have a weakness. They can be hurt by a high frequency sound, and Cecil unleashes this on Mark before he gets the Reanimen to attack him. Cecil believes that Mark has gone rogue, and not wanting a repeat of what happened with his father, he tries to take him out. Now whether this will happen or not, we don't know yet, but the fact that the GDA was studying Mark's blood, I think it's pretty likely. We also catch Battle Beast, who's out in space, doing what he does best, and just killing people. When we last saw him, he was leaving Earth after mopping the floor with the Guardians, because the guy is an absolute badass. Now in the comics, we learn that after he left Earth, he was captured and imprisoned. Alan the alien freed him, but due to the setup that we see in the show, I'm not sure if that will happen here. He did however join the forces of the Coalition, a group that Alan is a member of, who were attempting to take the Viltrumites down. Battle Beast denied throughout that he was actually helping the Coalition though, because the guy is such a badass. Now he also goes head to head with the leader of the Viltrumites at one point, who we discover is called Thrag. He's likely going to become the big bad in the show, and I really hope that we're introduced to him through Battle Beast, or as I call him, Badass Beast. Now the last thing I want to talk about is what happened to Nolan. Well, in issue 25, Science Dog comes to meet Mark. In the show this has been changed to Science Dog, but it's likely that they will keep this plot element in place. Now the dog says that he needs Mark's help, and they travel across space to an alien world. It's revealed that the dog is actually wearing a costume, and that it's really an insect-like alien. Turns out it's been sent by Mark's father, who is now ruling over this world. Since failing his takeover of Earth, he's done what he told Mark he would, and the character has started again somewhere else. Now Mark just hugs his dad upon seeing him, and you really hope that the pair can rekindle their beautiful, totally not abusive father and son relationship. However, a big twist comes when Nolan reveals that he actually has another son. It also turns out that the Viltrumite scouts are coming to the planet, and Mark and Nolan have to team up and work together in order to take them down. I think that's probably going to be how season 2 ends, and in my opinion it will be the final episode. It just makes sense to me to have them work together, so it reflects the ending of the last season. I can't wait to see this moment play out. Now there's so much to look forward to with Invincible, and what an incredible first season that was. If you can't wait any longer, then definitely pick up the comics, as they're amazing and well worth reading. Now obviously there's a lot of things that could happen in the season, so make sure you drop your theories and predictions below. As a thank you for interacting with the video, you'll be entered into a prize drawn the 30th of May, in which we're giving away 3 copies of the Godzilla vs. Kong collection. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the show. The winners of last month's competition are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the finale, which will be linked on screen right now. We've pointed out all the differences from the comics, where things line up, and the Easter eggs, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. With that out of the way, thank you for sitting through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.